The only
GK.
because it's not a
How
95
much,
release.
Jeff?
I got a cut for my jam, so I
Yeah, yeah.
was wondering if I could just talk about one more album and then like because I really wanted to discuss this with you guys, especially Abhishek and you and Ani. I know you guys.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Smashing Pumpkins,
Yes, let's fucking go.
Okay.
Melancholy of Infinite Sadness.
Uh-huh.
Dude, I, the person who actually reintroduced me to this band was Rishi, because I'd listened to Siamese Dream and Gish like multiple times, but I'd never gone beyond that. Like, and I'd only listened to like 1979, Tonight, all these couple of times, but never checked out the entire album. And lo and behold, my brother discovers his college phase. So naturally comes the college albums also. He's like, yeah, man, you gotta check this. Have you heard of this band called Smashing Pumpkins? I'm like, yeah, of course I have. He said, have you listened to the entire album? It's a double album. I was like, I didn't even know it was a double album, to be fair, at that point. He was like, no, I'll check it out. And oh my God, it stands out so well and distinctively from bands of that time. Like, I mean, you had your Pearl Jam, you had Alice in Chains. Even though Alice in Chains are my favorite band from that era, this is my favorite album probably from that era. Mainly because of what's his name,
Billy
the
Collie.
the producer, uh,
Uh, Butchwig.
Butch
Butch Vig, what he's done on that album, plus Jimmy Chamberlin's drumming on,
James
especially
Inez
on
guitar.
songs like Through Eyes of Ruby and stuff like that, is it's not even just I feel like it's not grunge anymore at that point. Sorry, what?
Mute, mute.
Yeah, that's my bandmates calling me at this point. But yeah, uh, it's not even just like grunge or like alternative or whatever. Like you've got orchestral pieces, like in Tonight and stuff, like songs like these, and the banger of an opening, Bullet with
butterfly wings.
Butterfly Wigs, is like it's absolutely phenomenal album. And yeah, I think this was where Billy Corgan's like I think the band just peaked here, could not go beyond this, because personally I feel every album after this never compared to any of the first three. Everything like the Dracula era of Corgan just like that whole Nosferatu thing of his, just that stick just died.
No, it's sad that they
That's
never released an album after Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness. But what a great way to sign off. I mean, this is the last album that they recorded ever. They never released anything after this. So yeah.
yeah. I mean that's one way to like look at it.
Yeah,
In
actually,
my head
nobody really
canon,
knows
3
anything after
albums.
this.
No one knows, no one
Oh,
cares.
this
How
is
do
your
we say
Queen
this?
Strike joke. It
Fuck
took
you
me a
and out
while
to
to
no one.
understand.
Yeah.
No, but I'm interested to know like what you guys think is it, because I know like it's not a metal album at all. It's very far from even just a rock album.
Rock
So it's
album,
just
It's
yeah.
yeah.
so much more though.
Anirudh, go
It's
for it, yeah. You've
it's
been quiet for a while.
very because too much extreme metal, no. So now I get to wait. But
Masala moment.
yes. But I think this album is peak Smashing Pumpkins, man. Like every element down to a T is chuma, matlab the Hindi one. And as Rakshat said, the whole orchestral elements and Tonight, then Muzzle. Oh my god, what songs! Plus, I think this is the album where a lot of the clone band started spawning. I think after this album, whether it's I think Our Lady Peace and whatnot, all of those bands really started taking the sound from this album. But I think there's no album which comes close to this in terms of the uniqueness that Smashing Pumpkins brought in this style of music. So that's like probably one of Billy Corgan's best efforts, even including his NWA stint.
Nice. Thanks for the tag. Strangely, how I discovered a band called Smashing Pumpkins? Through fucking Simpsons. So that was when I discovered them, and then obviously MTV. You couldn't escape Bullet with Butterfly Wings and 1979 and Tonight Tonight. I didn't get into these guys till that episode, which I watched in 2000, I think. And this album reminds me. I don't know the term for it. It reminds me of a very specific time of my life, which it makes me nostalgic for a time of my life which wasn't there. You know what I mean?
Same. Yeah, exactly. That's why I love that.
Yeah. So it makes you nostalgic for a time which you were not present at all, and it's just the sheer volume of quality on this album. It's end to end. It's not bangers. It's just very introspective at times. It's very experimental, 100%. It is angry. It is sad. It's like a gamut of emotions. And
it's heavy, man. Like emotionally, it's emotionally.
It's a very heavy album. And the thing is, it's very cohesive. It's the most cohesive Smashing Pumpkins / Billy Corgan output till date. It would still be the most cohesive album that they've done. And it's just an extension of what they were doing on Gish and Sam's Dream and stuff like that. It's a fantastic album, and I highly recommend, especially for a guitar player like Vikram is. I would highly recommend that you check this out. It's a tremendously guitar-driven album. There are a lot of things to it. It's not heavy, but it is a very experimental, very song-driven,
very expansive also.
Very expansive album also. Yeah,
and
the live version of Through Eyes of Ruby, the solo is just, man.
Dude, you should check out. There's a box set which I was lucky enough to get a hold of. It's a box set called Aeroplane Flies High. It's essentially a collection of just outtakes. So if you are like a nerd for that period, the 90s where we all grew up in, that's a very nice time capsule of that era, of that sound, because you can see the type of people he was hanging out with. You could see influences from Nirvana. You could see influences from REM, Hole, Pearl Jam, stuff like that. All of those seeping in and making it into a cohesive unit.
Even that Sonic Youth influence is like pretty.
Yeah,
visible,
exactly.
Man. Like,
you love the Melvins, so
that's exactly what I was gonna just say. Like the whole. And one thing that this album I feel does very well is that as a double album, it's not at all bloated. Like, you have a lot of these double albums, for example, that Baroness Yellow and Green. It's either very top heavy or it's very bloated in parts, This album, like, you wouldn't even realize it's a double album up until the time you see the track listing. It just flows seamlessly. There's no real filler track here. It just is like one smooth ride. And it's like, I don't...
Fucking 30 songs, dude.
Yeah,
30 songs.
And then like no other band has really replicated that sort of feat in this regard, because double albums are really difficult to nail. It either favors one side very heavily, or it becomes very bloated in the middle, and then you just leave. You can't listen to a double album front to back very frequently. But I think with Mellon Collie, I can just listen to it and not even realize how much time has passed. So I think that's one very, very
GK,
good.
What do you think, GK, about this?
Faizan will be more accustomed to this setting, listening to 50 songs in one album.
Yeah. I was thinking 30 songs. You and Rakshit for that matter. I get that.
The two of you should really check this album out. Just, it would be interesting to hear what you think of this, right? Because it's...
Sorry, was that for me, GK?
Yeah.
You and Hoitan.
So, I was exposed to, or rather recommended, Smashing Pumpkins by a friend in college. I have explored it a little bit. I haven't gone deep, but not something I disregarded or hated right away. Something that I'd parked to revisit on another time when the mood felt right. And I think it's about time now, since you guys have been discussing about it, and I have a little more insight about it. Gonna get back to it and deep dive.
Yeah.
I've
For
been
me, I
recommended.
think apart from
Yeah, go
Alice
ahead.
in Chains, no other grunge band did it for me, to be very honest. I tried a lot of Nirvana when I was a kid because of friends of will always tell you to listen to this band, check out this band. Almost everybody was listening to Nirvana and stuff. But I somehow could never relate with it. The only grunge band I related to it was Alice in Chains.
I think you
And
can't relate
later on,
to. I think you can't relate to Nirvana because of the fans. I know, like growing up around Nirvana fans at that
no, no, no,
time.
no, no. I'll be honest, bro. Like when I heard it, I please don't beat me up, but I felt it to be cringe in the first listen only. To be very
Check
honest.
out Bleach. I mean, listen to Bleach might be more up
Yeah,
your alley.
so that is the thing. After a certain while, after a few years down the line, when I started exploring more and more music, at some point I came across Bleach as well, which was not something that I was expecting from Nirvana, to be honest.
Yeah.
That was definitely different from the stuff that I have been hearing from them, especially during my childhood. You know, all these mainstream ones that got popular, like Come As You Are, and what was those songs? Forgot only the name. Basically, the mainstream ones, basically. I
Hmm.
never could relate with it. AIC, I could definitely because lot of lot of interesting musical parts also. Loved
Yeah.
his vocals. It was way more darker than Kurt Cobain, I feel. Kurt, those era Nirvana almost felt like you would, I used to categorize it into cringe emo bands like Green Day and stuff, to be very honest. But I was
Hmm.
stupid, I'm sorry. But that was me when I was in school. So that's what, like Smashing Pumpkins, I heard it for the first time, to be very honest, last year when you guys actually forced me to listen to it on the Kirik group. I was like, what is this? Rakshit, then Rohit, all people are going on and on about asking
Even
me.
Siba's a big fan of Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay. I heard it, but I think again it plays a major factor in your lives because it has a nostalgic factor. Uh, I played it, but I again couldn't relate with it at this point of life also.
Yeah, GK, you were saying about the album.
Yeah. I think first introduction to the band was Siamese Dream, which I still like a lot. And then, yeah, it was this one. It was Bullet with Butterfly Wings on MTV. And it used to come on all the time, right? And then, yeah, started listening to this album. And this is probably maybe like in my top two or three double albums. If you have to talk about it, it would be like Physical Graffiti, The Wall, and this one. Because otherwise, you look at like Use Your Illusion or any of these double albums, right? There's like so much fat in them that
Yeah.
it's difficult to sit through the entire thing. But this is like what, 2 hours, and it's fucking great, man. It's you remove all of the MTV hits aside, you remove Bullet, Tonight Tonight, Muzzle, you remove the singles, and there's still a whole lot of depth. And I think it's because even though they came at that time of grunge, they were never really grunge in the sense of Nirvana or Alice in Chains or Pearl Jam. They had their own distinctive sound, right? A little bit of college radio rock, a little bit of Sonic Youth, Jimmy Chamberlin, and what is the bass player's name? James Iha
James
No,
A.
James Ahaya was the guitarist.
was the guitarist. Huh, sorry.
Darcy
Uh-huh.
was the bass player.
Yeah, but they all had their own very distinctive sounds. And I think, at least in my book, Pumpkins didn't sound like any other band that came out at that time. So yeah, and particularly with this album, like Tonight Tonight is just a pop song, right? But
Yeah.
it's so incredibly catchy that it's just, yeah, it's one of those total earworms. So yeah, I love it.
Like in my opinion, Smashing Pumpkins is it comes when you mature as a grunge fan is what I'd say because for me Nirvana is my least favorite grunge band.
Same.
Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, of course Alice in Chains is my favorite grunge band ever. But Soundgarden, Temple of the Dog, Bush, Live, Hole, I mean these bands, and then comes Smashing Pumpkins is what how I would look at it. Like it's an evolution of you as a grunge fan is what I'd say.
At an STP.
Stone Temple Pilots, yeah, of course, man. I
Yeah,
love them.
I think Smashing Pumpkins did something weird in that they got that slightly noise rock plus shoegaze
Yeah,
plus a bunch
They
of
did,
other
yeah, yeah,
elements.
maybe a little bit of that surf thing also.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I just had to I know it's like a very vast contrast, like first Pierce from Within and then this, but and I know I'm not gonna get time to talk about Oliver sadly, but yeah, that probably I think Abhishek can talk about on my behalf, Abhishek or Vikram or whoever. But yeah, that's it for me on
Cool.
this.
So yeah, go watch Rakshit bring his all his Dada Bada skills on the 11th of May at By Chance Brigade Road with X Repeat X, and look for their Bandcamp link in the description.
Thank you, JK. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers,
I'm
Thank
gonna
buddy.
you.
go and
Have a
be
good
very
one.
late for that particular jam now, XRX.
Yeah, we always keep you, na, whether it's office or
I
it's.
swear, yeah.
Next time we'll
Right.
make you sign a disclaimer form. We are not responsible for your tardiness.
With white
Again, a lawyer
shirt, beard,
buddhi.
and similar hairstyle, Supra and Rakapa look like brothers.
Yeah.